All right, folks, welcome to a weekly market recap. In this video, we're going to be talking about the lessons from this week, the mistakes that we made from this week. What can we take on from this week as a lesson on to the next week and on forward for the rest of our careers? As you guys know, we never want to go back. We always want to go forward, right? Oop, I messed up the mic a little bit, but we always want to move forward rather than backwards, right? Now, this week was very important for me because I know when to look for a important key level to get tapped in the daily range and when not to. Now the only happened and the only way that happened is when I took a trade, and I only got a drawdown from the trade, but I made some profits. Beautiful, cool, but we should be always milking the market to the fullest. Now, why do I say if you when I catch a move, I don't want to catch a move where I make some. I want to make the most that I can from the move, right? Why is that? It's because I'm trying to have the highest position that I can have for me personally. I know to some of you guys may be different. For me, it's different than yours. But my goal is to be very precise with my moves and take one trade that could make me a huge amount of return, right? And in between this return, I do take losses, right? But the losses are very well calculated. I was on a 4 losing streak, one trade coming to break even, and it should have definitely made me some profit. A break even is better than taking nothing, and it's better than taking a loss. Because we took a short on Friday. I went to hit our take profit one, or we only have take profit ones or twos. We only have a take profit. So he hit our take profit, and I know when to target, when to wait for a tap of the important key level and when not to. And now I know when to target a daily level rather than a weekly level. Now that will all be explained in this video, but let's get straight into it. Now, I've already talked about the Friday trade, but the overall lesson of the Friday trade, you can see the market pull back down and it went up higher from there, stopped us out. Eventually, we had another opportunity on Thursday. Oh my goodness, chat. If you guys were on the market on Friday, market was so weird, right? Yes, there was holiday, but I was like, damn. Like if you trade Friday, I had a setup on Friday, and the setup got invalidated before it even got tapped because, as you guys know, first pullback in a New York continuation must deliver, and secondly, that trade idea got invalidated was because that my trade model entry model never got tapped and there was no valid high. So, like as you guys know, anything times zero always equals zero. Every rule you have in your system matters, right? They play a big role, and if one is missing, the whole crew is gonna go missing, right? And I didn't execute that. Eventually had a 4 hour CRT. The 4 hour CRT did not happen, not work out. Now you see the reversal point on this 9 a.m. candle was from a 15-minute old high. The 15-minute fair value gap over the old high that reversed, that caused a reversal. I did not take that also because the reason why I did not take it is very fucking clear that the daily profile is in there, right? Yes, the entry model might be there, but as I said before, anything times zero below is equal to zero. So I didn't execute the Friday trade. But on Tuesday, I didn't take any trade because the candle that tells the premium says discount must close. That applies to the lower time frame and to the higher time frame, right? And also on this candle also, right? So this candle closed. So okay, cool. I'm waiting for Tuesday to get souped. Eventually Wednesday comes around. Wednesday never soups Wednesday never give me a setup, so I'll wait till Thursday. Thursday never give me a setup also. The thing that was wrong with Thursday was that there was a New York OTE. So I was like, okay, cool. There's a New York OTE. I cannot take a trade without. I need to pull back first in order for me to get a trade in a lower time frame. I'm pretty sure there was no setups for me to take here. By the 5 a.m., the first pullback did not deliver. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna wait till the 4 hour CRT. 4 hour CRT comes around. I have it right over here. And there was no fake double top, fake double bottom, and you got purge right over here, 845. It was not a valid high. How come? Because it's not this bearish candles from different 4-hour candle. They push it out. I'm looking for a valid high to get formed. Valid high got formed. Eventually, the valid high. Once the valid high gets formed, we're looking for the valid high to get purged, and eventually, it does get purged at the right time, which they get purged at the right time. We're looking for our entry model, which is this fair value gap of an old high, and you never got tapped, and you reverse from there on forward. As you guys know, we don't take multiple ones. The reasoning why, because model one once could fail. If, as you guys know before, I've already talked about this before, if you enter before the total soup, it's kill issue. So we only want to take total soup, right? And there was no fatal top, there was no third drives, primarily just classical CRT. As you guys know, we only take total soup. So actually, whenever I got tapped, so we don't trade on Thursday, same thing to Wednesday, and Friday, same good old thing. Our trading guideline rules got disrespected. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm not gonna take a trade because. As I said before, I've said this so many times. Such a big preacher, or you can see, I preach on this so much that anything times zero always equals zero. Every single thing matters, right? If you work out, like even if you work out, right? If you work out on your biceps, but your whole other body part is like you don't work out any other body part, you're gonna look fucking weird, right? There's something definitely missing. So you want to work out your legs, you want to work out your whole upper body, not just your biceps, right? Don't do one thing, do the whole thing, right? Because it looks very uneven. When it's uneven, you have big biceps, or because even if you even have a big biceps, the other body parts are slacking off, you're gonna look very weird, especially your legs. If your legs are slacking off, you look like a stick, right? Which we don't want. But yeah, now that's why I did not take any trades, because simply every single thing I put down as a rule matters. Me taking one trade a day matters. Right? My rule says one trade a day, regardless of the outcome, matters. Regardless if I make a mistake or not, matters. Right? My rules about this one rule that I broke this week about not breaking even. Should never break even. It's all profits or loss. It should never be in between. It should be no break even, because my entry is the OT, stop is the total soup, and breaking the scam, as you guys obviously know, because usually if my entry is the OT, even on a total soup, it's high likely to give you trace back before reversing, right? And my last one thing I gotta say, especially if you trade the model one, your entry is always gonna be the OT in model one. Model one is basically OT, right? If you would say, because it usually comes back to it multiple times before reversing. And I don't treat model ones anymore because of that specific reasoning, because it will give me very emotional. And as you guys know, total soup should not get you emotional at all, because it's very neutral. Now, what I mean by neutral, for a model one, it would be like this, right? Then reverse. So expansion, retracement. This to me it goes against my like psychology. I'm like, bro, this is expansion, retracement. It could be another expansion, right? Enter here, goes put my stop loss here, or if it gets stopped out, right? So that plays against my psychology. Although you could say all expansion, reversal, retracement, expansion, but that does overall, because I usually always see this, right? It plays against my, I see the market, beforehand going up, right? So this to me looks like, okay, it could be another retracement, go up higher, right? That plays with my psychology. So the way I avoid that is by looking for something like this, right? My entry is over here. The total soup clears itself, we're down here. So in my eyes, I see this as an expansion, instant reversal. So there's no retracement. I'm not entering before the retracement, right? I'm not entering after retracement. I'm entering before the retracement if it does happen. So mine is very neutral. That's why. Now, that's the overall lesson of this lesson number one. Lesson number two is going to be which we're going to talk about right here. But before we talk about that, we're going to be talking about one very important thing that I found out on Twitter, right? It says this right over here. Pick an industry where you can play long-term games, right? With long-term people. Now, what does that mean in trading? Why do I say this before I go even further? Because it's very important. As you guys know, our goal is always to be long-term focused, because in short term, anything could happen. I could lose my whole funded account in short term. I could go bankrupt in short term, right? I could take 100 trades in short term, but long term it's gonna affect my long term overall, right? I could anything could overall happen in a short term. What really matters is long term, right? That's a month doesn't matter, a quarter doesn't matter, a year doesn't matter, decade does, a decade, right? Now when you take a specific action or habit, when you do a specific habit like scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on Instagram or doing whatever, right? You take that specific habit that you're doing and you tell yourself, okay, right now if I scroll on my phone, or let's say you catch yourself scrolling, right? And you tell yourself, right now I'm scrolling. Now, what would this happen? What would happen to me right now? Nothing, right? I just wasted like 30 minutes or hour or 4 hour. What is gonna happen in a week? Still nothing, because I'm just gonna be wasting longer hours, right? That's what's gonna happen. But what's gonna happen in a month? A month I just wasted a whole. If you add it up in a month, if you scroll like 2 or 3 hours, basically wasting a whole day out of your month just on scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. I'll take the same thing on a yearly basis. Now you just wasted almost a whole week just scrolling on your phone, scrolling on useless doom scrolling, right? Now take the same habit in a decade. You just wasted almost a whole year just scrolling on your fucking phone. Now, you see how in the long term, a decade or 2 decades, it's a big fucking thing, right? You just wasted 3 months or 6 months in a decade scrolling on a fucking phone. Some people may see like, well, that's not that fucking long. That takes your whole life. So you just that 3 months, 6 months could be used for something better. It could be used for spending time with your family. It could be used for many things, right? Rather than just scrolling on a phone that you're not even focused, that you just put your 10 second like 10 second timer stuff. Like you see a video for 10 seconds, you scroll, right? You just do that, right? Which is gonna ruin your very long-term game, right? Same with trading. If you take a trade today, now let's say this, if you take 2 trades today, it may not do anything, right? Today you may not do anything. Today you may enter a break even. Today you may have a small profit. Today you may take a loss. In the week, you may not do anything. Also, it may affect you a little bit more, psychology wise. Taking a month. If you're taking a month, you're gonna be very fucking emotional. You're gonna be possibly in drawdown. You're possibly gonna be in your psychology. You're possibly gonna break even your rules even more. But now thinking a year, you're gonna be unprofitable. You're gonna be even big drawdown. Probably gonna lose some accounts. You're going to, because in a year is a very long time, right? It's short in that when we see it, it's very short. But the stuff that happens within a year is a lot of things happen, right? But now what's gonna happen in here is you just took so many fucking usage trades, right? And those usage trades made you overall profitable because you take so much trade that you're not even in your system, which makes you lose more, which makes you lose your skill, which damage your psychology, which overall, if you, let's say after that you get a right good strategy, you follow that strategy, each specific thing that happened the previous year will come to you, right? Let's say you go on a good winning streak and your mind, it goes against you because you know that happens, right? Because your mind will go against you sometimes because the most difficult. There's a famous quote from the Arabic. There's a famous Arabic quote. I don't know the Arabic saying to it, but I do know the translation, right? Never have I ever found something more difficult than my own soul. Sometimes it goes with me, sometimes it goes against me. Now that right there is where that should be a aha moment, right? Because it's very difficult, right? And here, let's say this year I do very well, or this year I do very shitty, right? And that there's this specific habits that happen here and the memories I get from this year. I take the next year when I focus very well and try to be very good at my following my trading guideline rules. And I get a good winning streak or whatever, right? Then I would know I would go back into losses because I have had memories from the previous year. I took so many losses. I took a loss after a win, or I went to a losing streak after a couple wins, right? That memory comes back, which mess up overall with your psychology, right? Now, long term plays a big role, right? And as Bruce Lee say, I don't know if this is Bruce Lee, but this famous person said this, right? I don't know their name, but they said that the hardest, the most difficult thing in life is the within, right? And there is the enemy is the inner me, right? This I'm just making quotes from people who say this, but it's very important. It's very true though, right? Because your own self is the enemy. You scroll on TikTok for 4 fucking hours a day, or play video games for 4 fucking hours a day, or do whatever, do just trade so many times a day, or be in a chart for so long in a day that's useless. That right there, that action you take happens because of your mind, right? And that wastes a lot of time. Now, I don't want to. I'm not here. I'm not here to be a psychologist guy, or whatever. Right? I'm just here to just really give out very important lessons that right now I'm facing with my own life. I'm trying to improve on, right? Because you guys know we always want to currently improve. Never want to, sabotage ourselves and repay. Just wait. I do have sometimes problem of being on TikTok. There's a problem being on Instagram, whatever, right? I do have sometimes having problems with doom scrolling for no damn reason, right? And I do have some problem overthinking, daydreaming, right? These are problems we're always gonna face, right? Emotions, these psychology wars, always gonna face. But the best thing we can do is first be conscious of it, which I am right now, and have a way to go, have a strategy to beat it, right? Whether be it praying, right? Praying, or going to church, or going to mosque, depending on your religion, doing something, right? To prevent that from happening over and over, right? To me personally, now I know a way to fix my doom scrolling, or doing whatever after a very exhausted day. The best thing I could do is like go sleep, right? Rather me wasting, say, 2 hours on scrolling, I could spend that taking a nap for 2 hours and regain all my energy. Not out of my mind is not that fried, right? Or people say cooked, right? So that's one way to fix it, right? There's many ways to fix it. There's many challenges people face. I face the challenges you also do, all do, right? You're a human being. We always face these problems in life. But our best thing we can do is recognize it and go on from there. But there will always be answers to it. Once you recognize it, you're always gonna have the answer to your specific problem. Right? Now, let's go to the other lessons of the week. Another lesson of the week, which is as I said, which is the first lesson. The next lesson is gonna be this, right? Of our Friday trade we took, which went to a break even, right? After we profit out of the daily level. Also, we should have not taken partial. We should have gotten a fully out of the daily level. Now we're going to talk about that lesson right now, right? Lesson number one, foremost is going to be that I should never break even. I will never ever break even again. I usually I was cleaning dishes one time, and like it was a couple days ago. I clean dishes also, right? It's life, right? We gotta clean dishes. We gotta do dishes, right? You gotta do this. You gotta clean the house. Because you guys know, a messy house, a messy room equals a messy mind, right? So when I was cleaning the dishes, right? I made a song, right? And it goes like this. I'm gonna mess it up, right? But yeah, I'm not gonna say this. It's kind of corny, but I said, I was just singing I was just singing the specific words, right? Where I said, I I will never break even again, right? I will never break even again, right? It's corny, right? But as Constantly said that, right? It's a biggest lesson from this trade. I will never break even. It's all profits or nothing. The second lesson is that the only time I go for a day level profit rather than a weekly is when the market puts out a high and a low, and market made a stable high, and we know that the market's gonna make a stable low very soon. We can just profit at a daily level because we know that a retracement is bound to happen. And as I also said in my video on the weekly the high time market outlook, that I was not looking for a retracement. It did not make it definitely did make sense to retrace look at the monthly, right? A monthly open, high, low, close. So open, low, high, close. It was a concentration candle, so it definitely made sense to go up higher before going down low, right? Because the monthly open, high, low, close. As you guys on the last week of the month matters because you usually the open, high, low, close on that week matters a lot. Now, if we go back down to the lower time frame here, the reason why I said that I was not looking forward because the target was so near, right? So the shouldn't be happening. Check the higher time frame, the monthly once again. You're gonna see that retracement is supposed to happen because of the monthly open, high, low, close, right? So another lesson right there, right? And the next lesson is to always think logically, don't think stupid. During this time, there was no open, high, low, close. There was no monthly closing, right? It was primarily market need to go up higher because market over pretty sure over here open, low, market made a high and then close, right? Because the market honestly opened and went down lower. That means it should make a high and close. So it definitely makes sense to go up higher before go down lower. And the target was relatively near that time also. So yeah. Now that's the next lesson. Always think logically, always think smartly, always look at the higher time and high power. And the next lesson is that I will never break even. Same thing again. I'll never break even again. My entry is the OTE, my stop is the total soup. If my entry is the OTE, usually means you will come back to it, right? So I should never break even because of that specific reasoning. Breaking the scam, I've had multiple times where I broke even, the market came back to my entry, had my entry and went back out, and I made nothing, right? Actually made fucking no money, right? Just hard, which is the bad thing. I should do. Always want to make money. Right? You always want to make money or lose money or take big lessons, which we did this week. Now the next lesson is that now I'll tell you guys when I was looking for a daily level profit, which is going to be whenever the market shows at a high and a low, then I'll just go target daily level because I know that a retracement is bound to happen. And next lesson after that is going to be the next lesson is going to be when I'm looking for a important key level to get tapped in a daily range, and when not, I'm looking for a important level to get tapped. Because now a important key level in daily range usually does have a high chance of getting tapped, but I never knew like when it should do it and when should not. Because you guys know, we think in a logical way, there's always gonna be two options, right? There's always gonna be if then, right? So the only time we're looking for an important key level to get tapped in the daily range is when it gets created during the duration to the move to the 50% mark of the equilibrium, right? This you can see this right over here, this move right over here. This important key level got created during the move to the 50% or the equilibrium, you could say, right? Or the premium or discount, depending on your bias. This move, this important key level, which is a low that broke a high, got created in the move to the 50%. So it's bound to get tapped, right? And why does not get tapped? Because this one never got created during the move to the 50% mark. This one got created beforehand. So now some other scenarios could be if the first daily level, if the daily level fails at premium discount when tapping the equilibrium or tapping the premium discount, depending on your bias. When the first daily level fails, then I can anticipate the market to tap the important key level, then reverse. If it doesn't reverse on the important key level, then I definitely know that my bias is wrong. Now, how do we know the first daily level can deliver? It's going to be by 1 hour number one, right? Simple as that. Now that's a lesson. That's the next lesson. Then after that, the other lesson is that I have to always follow my trading ground rules. I never break my ground rules. Everything matters, right? That's the most important training. That's the most important lessons from this specific week. Now, these lessons I'm going to take on from this week, the next week, and the rest of my career. But after that, after every other day, after that specific day, every other day was kinda there was no setups, right? There was market never followed that trading guide rules, so I didn't take any setups. Now, yeah, that's the overall lesson of the week. We have been correct, and we're just waiting for a pullback. Now, just waiting for the second leg down because the next monthly candle gonna open. And I'm you guys know we always learn here, right? I've already told you guys about the week 4 retracement, or week 4 using week 3 as using week 3 COT in week 4. I've already talked about that before, but we're always here to learn, right? Yes, I was wrong with my bias, but overall, give you guys an update on it on Discord or a Telegram. Right? Because I told you guys in the video that if there's an important law, if a valid log is formed, it's gonna retrace. That's why the market did retrace. Now, we still relatively have the same bias. We're gonna make a video on it tomorrow, and we're gonna explain that tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Check us, like, comment, subscribe, share. Go to Telegram down below, and I'll see you guys at Telegram. Peace out.